Welcome back, everybody. And I always feel delighted and so elevated, spiritually heightened, that we had this opportunity to spend time together, talk about supreme consciousness, God, Advaitic and Dvaita. And basically, besides fun and pleasure and enjoyment, often you will see many a time in the peripheral world, the world which is outside the paradox of life. Often you will see there are a lot of us, we're just wanting enjoyment. Enjoy is with what? Enjoy is with eyes, with senses, with pleasures, with taste and touch and smell, and like that. Have you ever reflected? The more we enjoy, the less we want it. We love Cadbury chocolate or the chocolates of Swiss chocolate. Supposing you have cupboard full of it. Have you realized you don't feel like having any more? It is lying there. Let's say you wanted to feel like eating a pizza, and your husband, your wife, your friend, your brother, sisters, your parent bring you 10 pizzas. Just because they love you and they brought 10 pizza and they said specially for you. And you say, okay, very nice, and everybody let's share it and eat it, and you start eating. You take one piece, you enjoy, you take two pieces, and I really like it, I'm going to have third one. After the third one, you're satiated, your senses are satiated. You don't feel like eating anymore. But your friend, your partner says, no, I have bought it for you. How can you not have? You must have one more. I said, no, I have finished. I don't want anymore. I said, please have one more. So you take one more. Take one more just to make that person peaceful and happy. And then what? He says, no, you can't say no. You have to have one more. At least one more. Even if you try to make that person happy and have really one more, and if he tries to insist for one more, you will run away from it now. Notice the same pleasure brought you what? A totally distancing from that same pleasure which you were wanting it. The pleasure always does that. Sensual pleasures. What is the essence of religion? It's trying to tell us the pleasure, desire brings us pleasure. We get into action. Action gives us the things of the pleasure, and which in turn takes us away from what we really want. Is now suffering. The suffering comes from that desire and the action, and which in turn creates the work, the karma, and which in turn brings good actions will bring good result. But remember, good action is a gold chain. Our middle class action is a silver chain, meaning half for me, half for you. Good action is only for you, and bad action is only for me. Bad action only for me is an iron chain. Some for you, some for me, which most of the people are doing today, you and me. And that is silver chain. And the gold chain is only for you. Look, sounds very good. NGOs, I'm doing only for the people, only for you. But that is also a chain. It is also a bondage. Understanding with that bondage, we come into this action. The question comes in, if I am that, Aham Brahmasmi, then what is the purpose of all this life? Why are we here? Why did we have to get born? If I'm already Brahman, why do you have to pass through all this life and birth and suffering and death and get reborn to become Brahman again, which is become Buddha, Paramahamsa, Ramakrishna, or Ramana Maharshi, or Jesus Christ, or Muhammad, or Mahavir Jain, Guru Nanak, whichever name you talk about it, to attain that, I'm passing through all this. But as per Advaita, I'm already that, and I've forgotten it. What is the purpose of all this? To do that, let's start with the prayer. Om Asato ma satkamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Mother, take us from unreal to real. Take us from ignorance, darkness, to wisdom and light. Take us from death to immortality. Peace, peace, peace. You may have noticed we do prayers, we have questions, and we have doubts, and we get back to all that. So what is the purpose if I am that? I am already born a Brahman. I am a Brahman. I have come from Brahman. I suffer all this life and work very hard and practice and get back to Brahman. The answer to this question, and the last Sunday session, we had a wonderful session in which Sir Rajiv asked some beautiful question. By the way, the question which I heard and what Rajiv had asked later on when I was listening to it, I found that there are some more angles to be put in. So we are going to deal with it this Sunday again. I'll touch upon it a little bit today. Today's session is, remember, a short session in which to invoke more questions in your mind through these Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we shall deal with it. You reflect on it and think of it. The answer to this question is in the question itself. And Swami Vivekananda goes ahead and asks, says, the question itself is wrong. But how can the question itself be wrong? Why is it wrong? You will like to ask. Swami Vivekananda is saying, because. Supposing you ask, why is the grass wet? Question, correct? So what are you asking? You're actually asking for answer to the cause. You're asking a question to find out the answer to the cause. The causation is what grass is wet. So you will say, because it rained. Because it rained, the grass is wet. The cause and effect, there has to be two the moment you go ahead. The problem with the Dvaita and the Advaita, the understanding of it is little becomes tricky. Why? Because we are not used to understand it this way. I used to ask this question when I was young and of age, physical, somewhere around 10, 12, 15. I remember I used to ask this question often. What is before time? What is after time? That time, the monks that I used to ask, they could not answer me, or they chose not to answer me. I do not know. Possibly they must have thought, what is this monkey going to understand? I did not get an answer. And it question was always, and I was to be very proud. I've asked a question they couldn't answer. But look carefully, understanding today's issue right now, and thank you for Raji's great question. And there is a question, what I started off today, that if in life our journey is to become Brahman, and we have come from Brahman, meaning we are Brahman, then why all this suffering in the journey? Another question. Beautifully, all these questions marry up together. So, what is it? What is time before time? See, the fact, the moment you're asking before time, think very clarity. Those of you who've done with logic in your college studies, before is the word is time. After is the word is also time. So when you say before time, it's like asking why is why. Are you with me? Question itself is wrong. That my question was an ignorant question to the monk. What is before time? Before time, meaning are you putting an end to the time and saying what was before that? It is like another question. Let me give you. Don't let it sound like a riddle. Try, calm down, close your eyes, sit down, meditate, you will get to it. What is outside of space? The fact that you accept the word and understanding of space, they cannot be outside of space. Outside of space is space. Outside of time, when you say before time, is also time. Isn't it? After time, the moment you say time and then you ask a question after, that's also based on time. But if you ask this question in the block of time, understand, this is logic. So might something sound a little confusing. But as you deal with more and more with Advaita and Dvaita, your clarity and understanding will improve. Your mind, understanding, memory, logic will improve. Think, when you are within the scope of time, let us say time has no dimension, but I am putting it in a dimension metaphor for you to understand. If within the scope of time, I ask what is before what? Let's say right now it is 6:15 p.m. What is before 6:15 p.m.? Within the scope of time was 5 and 4 p.m. and 3 p.m. and 2 p.m. like that. And what is after 6:15 p.m. is 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. and 9. It is within the scope of time. But when you talk about not a number, unit in a time, and you talk about time itself, which is infinite, it cannot be. What is after infinity and what is before infinity? In mathematics, there is an answer to that. But in terms of Advaita, in terms of logic, there is no answer. Same thing is with space. And this is what Vivekananda is saying. There is no answer to it. And when you ask this question, Advaita Vedanta still goes ahead and answers it. And what is that answer? That answer is, it is because of Maya. Maya is illusion. And what is that? Maya, illusion, is telling us we are walking down a darkened place and we see a snake. We throw the light. You and I have been through it time and again. You see it's a rope. So Maya has to, remember, projection. It is projected a wrong image of the rope to be the snake. This is called Maya. Vikshepa is giving you that idea of a snake. The snake is not there. Snake at any time would appear to be with the knowledge of the light, and that's why we did the prayer today after we began the session with the blessings of the mother. The snake doesn't exist. It is the rope itself. So, understanding this world itself, we have to understand the concept of Maya. What is Maya? The definition of the Maya as per Advaita is space, time, and causation. This is what involves the Maya. Notice space, time, and causation. Why? Everything is encompassed in the Maya itself. As per the theistic religion, it goes ahead, discriminate, and explains that God created this universe. I told you all about the story of Alan Watt, the book. And he said, God created, recollect those of you joining for the first time, God was born all by himself. And he wanted to have fun, have play, enjoy as people think. The God created a not God. And God being so good, he created not God so good that not God forgot that he's actually God. It's creation of God, but not God. In the theistic religion, when you say God created, we always say God is somebody up there in the sky, in the temple, in the mosque, in the church, and God is superior, God is powerful, God can do anything. So why do we suffer? You see, because God, that means this God is a powerful dictator in the sky or heaven or somewhere and can do anything. And you and I have to suffer that silently because God is a dictator. This is the image of the God when you said, why do we suffer? The question of the Maya comes in there. But when you talk about God, like our father, my friend, my mother, in theistic religion only, how can any mother and father create suffering for children? God doesn't. So in which, where do the sufferings come from? It is same question of Maya. It is not the God. ईश्वर का पृथ्वी में किसी को दुख कभी नहीं होता है भला. Words in Himalayan. Who creates it? You and I create our own suffering by our bad work, bad action. Good work, good action. But gold chain, silver chain, iron chain, all a chain. Good work is good karma, but it is still a bondage. It's nice to do good and be good. Intention is what then? What should we do? Argumentatively, do the good work, live with purity, brahmacharya is abstaining from those sensual pleasures, with his enjoy. Just be it. You are that being. So, what is this cause? Why are we going ahead and getting into this world of apparent confusion? It is not a confusion, it is an error of understanding. Unreal to real. Viveka. That's why Vivekananda, who understood the reality. Yours and my idea is to understand the reality. Be in this world of the Maya, but understand the difference. In this understanding, very easy to bring the metaphor of the Princess of Kashi story. Those of you for the first time listening, Princess of Kashi, prince, near Kashi, neighboring country, his fifth birthday, the king and the queen, neighboring of Prince of Kashi, the prince, and they wanted to play a play on his fifth birthday. And they couldn't find the right-looking girl who has to act like the Princess of Kashi. Kashi was the neighboring country. They couldn't find one girl. The queen said, why don't you dress up my 5-year boy? It is his birthday. Let him be like a queen, dressed up like the princess. The queen's word, they dressed him up. He looked very pretty. The function was over. Queen said, call the royal painter, make a painting out of him. Made the painting. Few days Queen kept it in her room, and then it went on to the basement storeroom, and it was there. 15 years later, Prince, grown up, 20-year-old young guy, doing a lot of princely thing. He was walking around one day, goes into the basement, and he sees that painting. And he falls in love. He sees the date of birth. It is written 5th, and it was written Princess of Kashi and date of birth. And he said, this date of birth is my date of birth. And she is my age. And she is so pretty. And he fell in love with her, Princess of Kashi. But he couldn't tell anybody. But he became silent, quiet, in love, young man. Prince, Queen and King, they started to ask him. He wouldn't answer. Then one of the wazir, the minister, who had grown up with this boy, went and asked him, come on, Prince, tell me, what's bothering you? What's ailing you? The prince tells them, I'm in love. The wazir says, very good. Who is the girl? He says, she is Princess of Kashi. He said, Kashi, very nice. How did you meet her? I haven't met her. I saw her picture. Picture, okay. Where is the picture? Come, I'll show you. And when he was taking him to the basement, the prime minister tried to wonder, in our basement, and I don't know Princess of Kashi's picture. And he goes and shows that picture. Immediately the minister understood. Minister told, Prince, you better sit down. This is not Princess of Kashi. He said, whoever it is, I will marry her. I want to marry her only. Now notice, this is what we are in right now. Why are we in this suffering? Why are we? We are Brahman. We are already passing through all this to become Brahman again is the question which we started. So what did the minister say? Minister said, Prince, thou art that. You are that. You are that princess. It was you. And he told him the story. Now look what happened to the prince. Instantly, in 1 second, 1 fraction, his desire to marry that princess is gone. Why? Did the minister say, no, you cannot marry her because she is already married? Did the minister say, no, you cannot marry her because she is dead? No. All he said that you are that. Same. And Prince understood it. Immediately as his awareness, and this is what is Advaita to Dvaita. Understanding these questions. This is what happened the moment you throw the light onto that snake and you find, oh, it's not a snake, it's dried up garland or a rope lying on the ground. And this is the question with which we are coming into. If there is no answer till this understanding comes in, it is an understanding, it is an awareness. And the moment you become aware, you become Buddha. What did Buddha say to that shepherd boy going from Banaras to Sarnath to give his talk, first group of lectures? The boy saw him resting under a tree on the way, long track. I think it more than 70, 80 kilometers. I remember it used to take us almost 2 hours by car. I don't remember the exact distance. All Buddha said, I am the awakened one. Meaning, I know. The moment you know, what happens now? You know. You are aware. You're awake. And does it mean that you will have the answer only when you're enlightened? It is true. Yours and my journey is to become enlightened. There is a beautiful statement in the Himalayas again. The monks say 2 things. 1, those who are enlightened, they know all the answers, but they don't have any question. They've gone beyond question because they know all the answers. And this side of the enlightenment, like you and me, we have all the questions, but we do not have the answers. So your and our journey is this journey of the awareness, of the understanding that we are taking ourselves up through. The second statement which the Himalayan monk said, माया को प्रतिष्ठा मत करिए महाराज, माया को काटिए. Don't try to establish Maya. How do you establish Maya? What did he mean by that? We are trying to talk about Maya and understand Maya. Now we have to cut it through the power of the knowledge of knowing, of awareness. With this, I will give you the questions of Rajiv once again, and the questions of today, which we talked about, that if we are already Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, no? Advaitavad. And then why are we passing through this birth and death and suffering and going into? And what is all this process of Kriya Yoga and religion practices? Might as well just eat, sleep, enjoy, drink and die, and that's it. No, the purpose of human life is twofold answers. One answer is very simple, is to becoming one with God, realize God, purpose of human life. And second purpose is, both has got only one answer. Second purpose is actually given by two people, different people, but the answer is similar. Establish the supreme divinity from within into the reality in every moment of life. And that divinity is detached, is not attached. Play the role of the husband, wife, mother, father, son, professional, daughter, but you are not attached to it. How? Princess of Kashi's story. How? Which is bigger, the bubble froth or the wave? You will say the wave. Which is bigger, the wave or the ocean? You say the ocean. Which is bigger, the ocean or water? Today I was asking somebody, he's a very wise, good, learned person who never stood second in his life. He was telling me, the father had come to me. In this time, when I asked him, which is bigger, the ocean or the water? He thought for a while and he said, ocean. I said, okay, very nice. You keep the ocean with you. Yours ocean. Very good. I am taking away the water. So his eyes became wider. It is the water. So it is the consciousness, it is the Ishvara which is within you, which makes you right now listen to me, hear me. You can hear me, you can see me. How do you do that? Because. See, notice, we are again going into the cause and effect. And I will just read out one or two lines of Rajiv's question. We shall deal with it on this Sunday. Thank you, Rajiv, for a very good question. Why are there so many contradictions in the spiritual world? That's the first part of the question, contradiction. It is, in very simple line, it is because of that Maya. Why are there so many contradictions? And none of the comment on the official and the spiritual path that in a question, it comes to my mind while you were talking about, which we were talking about in the slides, that end of life is death. And in Gita, he's quoting chapter 15 and verses 1 to 3, whereas it made it the Ashwatthama is the eternal tree of, and Yogananda is explaining, and it mentioned in that human peripherals, senses, etc., are going from inside to outside, whereas he's talking the real joy is outside to inside. And Lord Krishna is saying, There I was one, I wanted to be many. And now, naturally, Rajiv's question is why from many we want to become one? We talking about oneness, no? From separatedness. And similar question goes on to the second. I leave it to you. We will discuss together. It's a very powerful, good way to understand this reality. We are touching, we said 20 to 30 minutes, it's now 30 minutes. Reflect upon it, question, send me the questions if you have, and we shall deal with them on Sunday, this Sunday, with reflections on spreading the word of peace, protection from the supreme divinity, Brahman, Divine Mother, God and the Gurus of all religion, saints of all religion, Paramahansa Yogananda, Sri Yukteswar Giri Lahiri Mahasaya, Swami Sri Vivekananda, Holy Mother Sharada, Paramahansa Ramakrishna, Kalpa Yogi Mahavatar Babaji, the Deathless Master, Krishna Yogakshema, Yaham Vaham, Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara, and Divine Mother, Mother of the Universe, Jagat Janani. Bless us all, protect us, hold our hand, take us from unreal to real, from darkness of ignorance to light of the wisdom, and death to immortality. Take us to understand we are one. It appears to be many, but we are one. Jai Guru.